Your 20s are so strange because you're somehow supposed to be a fully functioning adult and also have no idea what you're doing at the exact same time. You're old enough that people expect you to have it figured out, and young enough that you completely don't. You're technically free to do anything and also broke and tired and kind of paralyzed by it. Everyone around you looks like they're moving forward, and you feel like you're standing still, and you keep waiting for the part where it starts making sense, and it just doesn't. And I think most people go through this quietly assuming they're the one who messed up. Like everybody else got the manual and you didn't. So I want to talk about why this specific stretch of life feels so uniquely confusing, because there's an actual reason for it. And once you see it, the confusion stops feeling like a personal failure and starts feeling like what it actually is, which is just normal, expected even. So here's the thing that nobody really says out loud. For the first 20 or so years of your life, you were following a script. You didn't write it, you didn't even choose it. But it was there and it was incredibly clear, and it told you exactly what came next at every single step. Think about it. When you're a kid, there is always a next thing, and everyone knows what it is. You finish this grade, you go to the next grade. Everyone your age is doing the same thing at the same time. There are clear rules, clear milestones, clear ways to know if you're doing well. You get grades, you get told good job or try harder. There's a track and you're on it and it's moving. And all you have to do is keep going. You never have to ask, what do I do now? Because the answer is always obvious. The next step is right there. It was always right there. And the wild part is you didn't even notice the script was there because you'd never known life without it. It was just the water you were swimming in. School gave your whole life a shape and a direction and a way to measure yourself, automatically for free for 18 straight years. And then one day it just ends. You finish school and the track runs out. And for the first time in your entire life, there is no next thing automatically laid out in front of you. Nobody hands you the next step. There's no grade to move up to. There's no clear rule for what you're supposed to be doing. The script that ran your whole life just stops. And you're standing there at the end of it, holding nothing, going, okay, so what now? And nobody warns you that this is going to happen. Nobody sits you down and goes, hey, at some point the track ends and you're going to have to build your own from scratch with no instructions. And it's going to feel terrifying and confusing. And that's completely normal. Instead, you just walk off the end of the track and immediately assume something's wrong with you because you don't know where to go. But there's nothing wrong with you. The track ended. That's supposed to happen. You just weren't told. So now let me actually get into why the confusion hits so hard. Because it's not just one thing, it's a few things that all show up at once the moment that script disappears. The first one is that everyone's timeline suddenly split apart. For your whole life up to this point, everyone your age was roughly in sync. Same grade, same milestones, same stage, all moving together. It was easy to know where you stood because everyone stood in the same place. And then the 20s hit and that synchronization just shatters. Suddenly one person your age is getting married. Another is moving across the world. One's already got a career. One moved back in with their parents. One's in school still. One dropped out. One's making great money. One has no idea what they're doing. For the first time ever, the people your age are scattered across 100 different timelines, and there's no shared track anymore to tell you if you're ahead or behind or on time. So you look around to figure out how you're doing, like you always have, and the answer is just noise. Everyone's somewhere different, and none of it lines up, which leads straight into the second thing, and it's the comparison problem. And it is so much worse now than it's ever been, because you're trying to figure out how you're doing at the exact moment. There's no clear way to measure it. And you've got this device in your pocket showing you the absolute highlight reel of everyone you've ever met. So you see the person who just bought a house, the person traveling the world, the person who started a business, the person who seems to have it all figured out. And you compare your messy, confusing behind the scenes to their polished highlight, and you conclude that you're falling behind. Everyone concludes they're falling behind, which is mathematically impossible. Everyone can't be behind, but that's what it feels like, because you're comparing yourself to a fake track assembled from the best moments of 100 different people. The third thing is that you lose your entire way of knowing if you're doing well. Think about it. For 18 years, you had constant, clear feedback, grades, report cards, teachers telling you, levels to pass. You always knew if you were on track because someone was always measuring you and telling you. And then that's gone too. There's no report card for your 20s. Nobody grades your life. There's no external voice going, good job, you're doing this right. Keep going. So you're out there making these huge, scary decisions about your entire future with zero feedback on whether any of it is working. And that silence is genuinely disorienting when you spent your whole life being told exactly how you were doing at all times. Sorry, not genuinely. That silence is really disorienting. You went from constant feedback to total silence overnight. And then the fourth thing, maybe the deepest one, is the identity part. For your whole life, you had a built-in answer to who are you? You were a student. That was the identity handed to you, no thought required. It told you what you did all day, where you belonged, what your purpose was. And then school ends and that identity just evaporates. And suddenly you have to figure out who you actually are without the label that's defined you since you were 5. And that's a huge disorienting question that most people have never had to genuinely ask before because the answer was always just handed to them. So you stack all of that up. The script that ran your whole life ends. Everyone's timelines scatter so you can't tell where you stand. The comparison machine in your pocket convinces you you're behind. The constant feedback that told you if you were okay goes silent. And the identity you leaned on your whole life disappears. All of that. All at once in the same few years. Of course, your 20s feel confusing. It would be strange if they didn't. You're not failing at your 20s. You're just experiencing the completely normal chaos of the first time in your life that nobody's telling you what to do. But here's the reframe that I think actually changes everything. And it's the thing I wish someone had told me. That confusion you're feeling, that's not the feeling of being lost. That's the feeling of being free. They feel almost identical from the inside, but they're not the same thing. Because the reason it feels so scary and open and undefined is that for the first time ever, you actually get to choose. The track was comfortable. Yeah, it told you what to do, but you didn't pick any of it. It was decided for you. And now, for the first time, nobody's deciding for you. You get to. That blank space where the next step used to be automatically appear, that emptiness that feels so terrifying. That's actually just room. Room to build something that's yours instead of something you were assigned. The confusion is the price of the freedom, and you can't have one without the other. A life with a clear track laid out forever would feel safe, but it wouldn't be yours. And nobody actually has it figured out, by the way. That's the other thing. The people who look like they've got it all together, who look like they're on some clear, confident track, they're improvising just as hard as you are. They're just improvising in a way that photographs well. Everyone in their 20s is making it up as they go. Every single person. The difference between the ones who seem lost and the ones who seem like they've got it handled is mostly just how comfortable they are admitting they're figuring it out in real time like everybody else. So if you're in it right now, in that confusing, foggy, am I behind? What am I even doing stretch? I don't have a clean answer that makes it all make sense because there isn't one. And anyone who tells you there is selling something. But I can tell you that the confusion isn't a sign you took a wrong turn. It's a sign you reached the part of the road where there are no more signs and you get to decide where it goes. That's not a mistake. That's just the beginning of the part where it's actually yours. It gets less foggy. Not because you suddenly figure it all out, but because you slowly get used to the fog and you learn that you can move through it without being able to see the whole road. And one day you look up and realize you've actually been building something this whole time in the dark without a script. And it was yours the entire time.